Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a first-timer on the show, Megan Woods.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. It's good to... first-timers are always interesting for me because I can't rely on past conversations we've had. So the only conversation I have to go off of is from the door to here. So, yeah. Megan, we're going to set this up. We have this little... Basically, some air is going to blow into sort of like a bouncy castle over there.
Okay.
And when the air starts moving, all the questions I'm going to ask you are floating past your face. There's real money in there. There's fake money. There's Publix coupons. You just reach out and grab. But I'm just now seeing you've worked very hard on your hair. And I feel like it's going to be a Cat 4 by the time you're done. And
totally.
so I am going to give you the option. Do you want to go in or do you want to send one of us in?
It looks like maybe Steve wants to go in.
Steve, you're being called out to go into the... Okay, so we're going to have to give Megan's mic to Steve. There's a GoPro inside of this thing, so people will be able to go see Steve grabbing the questions that you'll end up answering, Megan.
It's so funny.
Okay, so you can see it blowing up here.
Yes.
We were nervous about this when we set it up. Like, what if somebody comes in that's all done up and their hair looks nice? Like, they're never going to want to go in. So we were prepared that maybe Steve would have to go
Steve's
in or I.
Volunteer.
Yeah. All right. We did pull some questions out of there. Let's hit one of them right now,
Yeah.
Megan. Any artist that has passed on that you could bring back for 1 week to bust out an album for us?
Oh my gosh.
You can go way, way back. You can go...
Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And so she comes back for 1 week, pops into the studio for one more for us.
Mm-hmm.
Is she sounding like Whitney from back then, or is she adjusting to 2025?
I want her to do Christian music.
Ooh.
Like a gospel record.
Yeah.
I know they just put out one of her, but I want a recent one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, is this like a Tupac scenario where they found the audio?
I think so. I think they just had like a bunch of recorded songs.
Oh,
They
wow.
just put it out. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I work in faith-based music, and I did not hear that. Okay, let's go. Let's go into The Truth right here.
Yeah.
It's in my mind, one of the best songs we started playing,
Wow.
I think pre-Christmas and now post-Christmas.
Thank you.
It just pops coming through the speakers. Can you just walk me up The Truth, where it came from, DNA
Yeah.
of it?
That's a really good question. I wrote that song out of my deepest struggles. I believe that we all go through times where we feel unworthy or unaccepted or unloved. And I wrote that song about the truth of just how God sees us and how God views us and, what he says about us. Because, once we know that truth, we can walk out in freedom. But I went through a period of time in my life where I did not feel worthy. I felt like any direction I turned, I didn't add up. And so it wasn't until I opened up the Bible and I started diving into identity scriptures and it all just really clicked for me. And so I wanted to write a song that was really vulnerable from my heart and my deepest struggles and just kind of create an anthem for people.
You did.
Thank you.
First of all, let me just tell you, my son's name is Boston.
That is so
And I read that you are from Northern Mass.
I am.
And I was wondering if you could give us your best... Like, can you go there if somebody had you go there?
With the accent?
Let's just say if you ended up parking your car somewhere near Harvard and you use your credit card, like, how would you say that as a dock worker?
I'll say I love Dunkin' Donuts and I'm going to park my car in the Harvard yard. My favorite football player is Tom Brady.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
All right. Good. How close were you to that world, or were you further towards, like, Vermont or...
New Hampshire.
New
So
Hampshire.
actually, I literally live like a minute from New Hampshire.
Oh, wow. So you wouldn't have
Right on the
heard
line.
that.
Actually, believe it or not, I do all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I'm always at the airport.
Okay.
So I feel like I hear the accent a lot.
And then you've been traveling now for quite a long time. So sometimes you forget, like, oh, that's normal for me.
Yeah.
But you've been on the road for so long now, maybe, that
Yeah.
it's like, when does it kick back in? Oh, that's home when you hear.
Yeah. It's like a punch in the face when I'm home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, give me your credit card.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
No, it's actually so funny because I actually lost my accent. I was just talking about this with someone last night. I'm like listening to an old video of me from 3 years ago and I'm like, I lost my accent. Oh. But it's a good thing because,
Yeah,
It was a little
it
too
does.
much sometimes.
Who is it sometimes the rest of the country can't handle some of those.
Yeah.
Like who I think it was Britt Nicole has this deep Southern, like South Carolina accent.
Yeah.
She's like, when she would go out to California, they didn't know how to handle
Yeah.
that drawl, that they would say, "Are you from Australia?"
Yeah.
Because it was so foreign to them, that
Right.
thick. And I can't even imagine what somebody would do with a thick Boston.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, my manager's wife, she's from New Jersey, and she has like the thickest New Jersey accent. So when we're together, it's like, I don't even know what comes out of me. It's like this Boston mixed with New Jersey accent that comes out of me. So it's funny.
Let's go with the past few months, something that has been stirring in you that you never wrote about, but you can already tell. I feel like I could write a song about what has been brewing lately.
Yeah. Well, 7 months ago, I walked through a really hard season of my life personally. And, I was having a really hard time believing that I was going to get through it, and, God promises us that he never leaves us nor forsakes us. And so I really have been actually in the writing room a lot recently. So I've been writing from that place. And I actually wrote a song that should be out soon, kind of through that time. And it's just a reminder that, like, Lord, I believe you, that I'm going to get through this, like that my story isn't over. And I'm going to put my trust in you.
Good. And we'll know it when we hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to me about the first time your mother heard you sing publicly for the first time, or sing ever?
Sing kind of face to face.
Okay.
So growing up, I would sing since I was like 4 years old around the house, but like my mom just thought it was a phase. So I'd be like in my bedroom singing, and I was a little shy about it. And so one vacation, we were in Disney World, and there's a thing back then called the American Idol Experience in Disney. And I wasn't old enough. I was only like 11 years old, but I just went up to the producer and I'm like, can you please let me audition? Like, I know I'm not old enough, but like, I felt like so bold in the moment. And my mom was super shocked because she thought like I was so shy. And so they brought me in and I auditioned, and my mom like literally heard me audition for the first time and sing face to face.
Wow.
And the producer was so encouraging. Like they gave me like a VIP pass to it. But that was the first time in my life where my mom just really realized like, wow, like maybe there is something here. Let me sign her up for vocal lessons. So,
wow.
Yeah, that was a huge moment in my life.
Yeah, my moment at that wasn't the same. They asked me not to come back. And so to this day, that is... that's not... I was going to ask you about... just kind of before you got into music, to pay the bills, it reminded me of Sinead O'Connor once worked, before she passed away, when she was younger, before anybody ever knew Sinead O'Connor. She worked at a restaurant in Dublin, and that you had a similar, or you ended up working at was it a singing restaurant? Is that right?
So it was actually an Italian restaurant, but the owners were super musical. So it was totally the Lord back then, because it really got me out of my shell, because I was in the kitchen, like picking up, plates of food, but then we'd be singing in the kitchen, and it actually opened up a door for me to play my own restaurant gigs. So before I moved to Nashville, I was playing restaurant gigs like every week, just with my keyboard, and that's how I kind of started. Yeah.
Do you, with a tip jar, do you put, like there's a thing where if you put like 20s in, it's like, what's it called? The tap. It starts a tap going where you're like, if you put bigger amounts in, it leads. Did you do that?
I actually never did, but that would have been a really clever idea.
Yeah, I think Matthew West used to play coffee shop gigs, and his parents would show up and put like
that
20s and 10s in.
Well, Matthew West is so genius, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it was his dad's idea, but we'll end on this one. If you had to go into a state of, what's that called, prep, where you go off the grid, how would you fare, and where would you go? So let's say you got to make a decision today. Are you staying in the Nashville area, or are you a Montana girl, or are you going back home?
Well, I feel like it changes a lot. I like fall in love with states when I'm in it. Like every state, I'm like, I want to move here.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was just in Florida. So I feel like, and I'm not just saying this because Joy Femme, but I actually would want to be in Florida. It's so warm. It's so relaxing. So.
This is survival, Megan. So I'm going to be passing you on the freeway as you're coming down, because I'm going somewhere with less people. And I have a feeling, that's... Actually, we could do some sort of what's that called, where you trade Airbnb? No, house swap. So I take it you're not a prepper. You've not prepared for.
I'm really not a prepper.
Okay. Either am I. I tell people, like, there's some people like that already have a kit ready. Like if crazy times happen, they already. Like Ryan Stevenson bought a bunker. Eye of the Storm, Ryan Stevenson. He already has a place he's going to go.
Oh, wow.
And like it's stocked and he's ready. I will be a statistic. They will say he didn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
So like it sounds like you and I will be.
Oh, no. I'm not prepared at all.
Yeah.
I'm like very not prepared ever.
I will share whatever I have, but it's going to be a lot of canned goods.
Yeah.
And then when they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah. No, literally.
And, yeah. Sorry, that ended up being a morbid question. I don't know why. I didn't mean for it to be. What spring 2025? What do you have coming? Tours, anything like that?
So I'm actually going on tour in 3 weeks with Big Daddy Weave and Ben Fuller, and it'll be my first ever tour officially.
Ooh.
Yes.
I need to tell you something about Mike Weaver. He's the place people go on tour with Mike Weaver that their lives change forever. I can tell you stories of artists we played over the years, Chris August and even Ben Fuller, that when people end up on the road with Mike Weaver, it changes their story completely. Wow. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, I think this is a ministry for you. Whoever you bring on the road, they just change.
It's so funny you say that because literally I was just telling my manager that the other day. I'm like, I feel like my life is literally going to change on this tour. Yeah. Just spiritually. And then I just, we just film content together, like all of us, and just all of us coming together, Ben included, like we were just so excited to just see what happens on this tour, like all of our testimonies and just the songs that we already have out. I just feel like it's all about identity and just, being strong in the Lord, and just I'm really excited to see like what happens. Yeah. Awesome.
Enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
And
so
we're
much.
loving the song The Truth. So thank you for
so
the time.
Much.
Yes. Park the car and have a yard.